I'm normally live on Facebook. Today, I've actually, the past couple times I've been here on YouTube. I normally post my lives to YouTube afterwards. So if you're watching live today, welcome. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you say hi. I'd love to hear from you, where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, let me know you're watching the replay. I'd love to hear from you either way. Stamping A to Z is oh, hang on. I didn't turn the volume off. I turned it on so I could see comments. I forgot where I was at. Linda Gibbs, demonstrator in Canada. Stamping A to Z is my live card making tutorial. It kind of goes through, we're on episode 207. So the beginning episodes are all, I think I'm still downloading the first 30-ish, but the rest of them are all on here. And it went through all of our supplies from A to Z in terms of tools and how to use them and new ways that you could maybe use them, making your supplies go further, hopefully getting you to pull out stuff that you have and be excited to use it again. So today I'm going to be featuring the new Notes and Totes bundle, which is out of our new annual catalog, which is live and available to customers now. And it's just a bundle, so it's not a suite. It's just got the stamp set and the dies. It's a huge die set. It's a really fun die set. It's very beachy, but it can also be for almost any occasion. It's perfect for scrapbooking, it's perfect for cards, and it's perfect for little treats. So I'm going to show everything but the scrapbooking part. But I'm sure if you're a scrapbooker, you can think of many ways to use the dies for even the stamp set for scrapbooking. So let me get you turned around and we'll get started. Okay, make sure I don't turn this off as we... Okay, I think that is pretty good. As I gave you a shot of my nose. I'm horrible at flipping that over. Hi, Linda. Nice to hear from you. All right, so this is the Notes and Totes bundle. It can be found on page 81 of the new beautiful annual catalog. If you are a customer who's shopped with me in the last 6 months, you will have received a copy of the catalog. If I missed you, let me know. If you're wanting a catalog, reach out. If you shop with another demonstrator, you can reach out to them. Either way, it's a great new catalog. So like I said, the die set is super fun. It's big. It's got like it's the wood panels for fencing. It's got pockets. It's got the piece to make your totes. It's got a water bottle, scarf, 2 different handles, little accessories, a tag, your beachy kind of stuff, sunglasses. I was wondering what this was, but I think it's actually a book. So if you're hearing noise, they decided to do street cleaning right as I started my live. Perfect timing. And then for the stamp set, it's got some great sentiments, but they're kind of fun because they're meant to be kind of like a newspaper heading kind of thing, which I'll show you. I did a newspaper little thing in one of the totes. Okay, so that's the bundle. I always use I think the catalog is a great inspiration when you can look at samples and kind of get ideas. So that's my go-to. Like last week, a lot of my cards were inspired from the catalog. All right, I'm going to set that aside. And our first card, I have pre-cut everything. I will tell you. So I don't know if you can see this. I did emboss it with the basic basic 3D basic embossing folder, which is an online exclusive. So if you want to be embossing and adding texture, what you want to do is you want to run your die cut. So I'm going to take this die cut, run it through just with the plain white, and then emboss it afterwards, because otherwise when you run it through here, a lot of your embossing will get flattened out. So you want to do that first. And then I've got a piece of designer series paper. This is the Thoughtful Journey designer series paper. It was from last year, but it's carried over into this year's catalog. So you might even have some. They actually, let me pull out the catalog again, because they actually used in their sample for this background, that's what this paper is. It's not this piece, but it's from the Thoughtful Journey designer series paper if you're looking for a nice background like that. You might already have it. All right, so I've got some thick basic white. I've got a piece of designer series paper, which I'm just gonna stick down here. Kind of in the center. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see it on camera, but and it's harder to see on this one because when you emboss it, you lose a bit of the score lines, but there's score lines here, and if you just kind of push on it, it'll find them, even if they're hard to see once you run it through. And then there's another score line there. Same with, oops, same with this side. There's a score line here, and then another score line here. Okay, and then there's a score line at the bottom, and you can see there's this flappy piece. There's a score line there, and then there's a score line at the bottom. So this is kind of how your tote is. So the whole point is so that you can glue these two little tabs to your card. Now you can do it flat. You could pop it, since if you fold these, you could have it popped up, especially if you use this. Well, I don't know if you'd, this piece is more if you're doing two pieces. So what I would do for this case is I would just snip this piece off. Don't need that. You could even take this off, but I think if you want to glue it down, and you could put, if you don't want it too popped up, you can put dimensionals in behind here. Now you can have a full tote like so, but you can see I didn't design this for a full tote. My designer series paper is a little small, and the tote is kind of like the whole beach bag idea. So you can, if you look at the samples, you can add your water bottle and little seashells and the suntan lotion and that kind of stuff. But the other thing you can do with this tote is you can actually fold everything down flat like this, and you can create a nice square tote or purse. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put some glue here. Like this. And I'm going to add another thing of glue here. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. So I forgot to show you. This piece that gets cut out fits to the bottom of the bag, and it fits perfectly. So before gluing it down, I would glue this across and then it would fold behind. Now we're just going to have to cut it, or you could just not add it, but I don't know if that's glue or what that is. So I'm just going to glue this to the bottom now, and I'll have to trim it. fuzz, dark blue. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay. So I'm making this more difficult than I should have. Got ahead of myself there. So once you've glued that down, you can just trim. On my sample that you will see, I just folded it behind with the rest, which makes it bulkier. So if you don't want it too bulky, this is probably the better way to go. And then you've got, so when you cut out your bottom piece, it also cuts out these two strips. So when you're making your beach bag, you can have your lines here, or your tote with the stitching, but I'm making this one look more like a purse. So I'm going to leave out these two straps, and I'm just going to use this strap here. So I'm going to put a bit of glue just on the handles, I guess. Okay, and then I cut out, so there's these, even these little triangles. You can use them as stitched cutouts, or you can use it as a, you know how purses have the, like if it's a fancy purse, it'll have the name brand on there. So, and it has like other, like the little toggles, so there's two, so you can do two at once. But I just need one. So I'm going to glue that down. These totes are the best for little treats, which is what I just thought I'd show you one as a normal card, and then the other two are kind of treats. Okay. So I've got my purse here, and then I've got a piece of just plain piece of paper, and I've got the news flash, "You're fabulous." So I'm going to take this color that I've used is Cloud Cover, one of the new in colors, and then for the stamping I'm using Secret Sea, which is another one of the in colors. Since I don't have my Cloud Cover stamp pad. So for those of you who watched last week, you might have heard the Cloud Cover stamp pad is not going to be available to customers. They were having issues with the color reacting to the foam. So it will be available to do at like the ink refill and stamping spots are available. But the large stamp pad will not be available. So if now we do have our, oh, I need to cut this down, I think. We have our starter kit sale on for the month. So if you really want to get your hands on a full stamp pad, it is available for demonstrators only. So if you join and purchase the starter kit, you will be able to order the stamp pad. Oh, I did that wrong. I didn't know what I was measuring. Something funky. Okay. So I kind of use this as, I see it as kind of the headline of a newspaper, so I wanted to roll it up so it looks a little bit like a newspaper. And then I'm just gonna glue that down, whoops, and I'm gonna put it in behind. So I'm gonna pop up my purse here. So I'm gonna put 1, 2. So I'm leaving the middle part open where I'm gonna slide in my newspaper so I don't have to worry about hitting my dimensionals. I can stick it down before I deal with the newspaper. So I'm going to put that here. And then I just want my newspaper to I want to kind of be able to read it, but kind of not. So yeah, we'll just put some stamp and seal on here. And then you want to kind of fiddle with it so that it's, you know, it's being hidden by the handle, but you can still kind of read what it says. And then they've got these cute sunglasses. Now I seem to have, I lost the actual sunglass frames. So it's super cute. If I can find where they went. So it cuts out this piece, which I did on some holographic foil paper, and then I had cut out some black frames, but I don't know what happened to them. They were all together on this, I thought, unless it was sticking to something. That is very strange. Well, I will show you the finished frame. Hi, Yolande. I can't find my sunglasses. Okay, well, here's the ones with the sunglasses. You won't be able to see it because I did black on black for these ones, but they're super cute. So I had another black frame for these, and now I'm not sure where they have gone. I'm going to put them on the inside. But yeah, so if I find them, I'll put them on and take a picture. I'll have to cut another one. All right, that is my first card. That's the easy peasy, kind of how it's meant for a card. Aren't they cute sunglasses? Okay, next I'm going to show you the 3D version of the tote. And I don't know about you, but when I think beach tote, I think straw bag. And so I cut out, you could use either side. This is a cute side too, although I cut it the other way for the score lines. I'm just going to do it this way because the lines are already done. So with designer series paper, this is the texture, what's it called? Woven Textures DSP. It's in the online exclusives. When you're cutting DSP with dies, you can stack two pieces together and cut them out together. So since you need two pieces, you may as well stack two pieces and cut them together and make your life a lot easier. So we're just going to fold all the score lines again. And I can't really see them, and you probably definitely can't see them, but I can feel them. So if you just kind of start bending where the line is, it just bends nicely for you. You don't really have to do much. Like I just push down and okay, there's the line. So if you can feel with your fingers the general vicinity of the line, then it's easy enough to put together. Now, since this, I assume, was originally meant to put on a card, you only need one set of tabs. You don't need both. You could glue the two tabs together like so, but then you end up getting this sticking out within your tote. You could glue it down to one side, but then you're getting bulky. I think the easiest is just to cut off one set of the tabs. So if you bend it both ways, I feel like you can see it a little bit better. And then you can just give it a trim. Same with this side. Very hard for these aging eyes to see. Okay, so we've got the tabs off of one. We still have the tabs on the other. Before I start putting it together, we want to add our decorations. So again, I cut everything out in sets of 2 so that I would have everything, and you can see it fits perfectly. Oh, you can't really see with the tab there. It fits perfectly on the bottom here across, so you can just glue those down on both. Oh, nope. I'm getting ahead of myself again. Okay, so you want to put your strips first because your strips will go underneath the bottom, right? Because you don't want them sitting on top, and you want them underneath your handle as well. Now, originally I had put mine on the far sides, but I think I saw someone else. It makes more sense if they come under, but then I feel that looks like, I'm gonna do it the way I originally did it. Just cause, so again, you kind of have, I feel like if you fold those in, and I want mine just on the edge here, then you know where to put your glue. It's a lot easier. So be forewarned, if you choose this pattern paper, it is very difficult to see what you're doing. But there are ways like this to figure out, to see what you're doing. You just have to get a little creative. So there's our first one, and then, oh dear. How did I do that? Talent, I tell you. Oh, jeez. This is not my day today. Okay, so now I can stick this down where I originally wanted it, on top. And then we have one, and then we have to do the other one. So same thing, where you can fold it in. Put your strips down. So this is all the woven textures. Both colors are from the woven textures, so you could, there's lots of options to use. Or you can do like I did with the embossing folder on white, or you can use, I mean, anything really. You know, when you think about totes, sometimes they've got flowers, sometimes they've got all sorts of patterns. So just designer series paper makes it easy because you can cut 2 at once and still get all the score lines and everything. So that's nice to have. Okay, and then you just have to line up the angled parts here at the bottom, and that puts you in the right spot. So that's why I find the glue makes it a little bit easier. And then you've got it right on the bottom there. And then we need our handles. Just put those in the center. Now, if you want your handles to match, all you have to do is line that up. And then make it so that they line up together. And they don't have to be exact because they're not going to be right against each other, but close. And then, oh, these are the tabs. I'm like, what are these for? I'm not sure. And then if you've got a little scarf, you can put that on. We'll put it on at the end. And then I'm going to take some tear and tape. You can use glue, but then you have to hold it and make sure it sticks. And this is kind of the exact size of the tab, so it works well. And then after this overlaps onto this, so you basically want, where's the edge? Okay, so you got a piece there, and a piece there. So I think I'm gonna put this piece first onto here, make it a little bit easier. So move that, and then you want your, so I'm gonna line it up by kind of putting it against there, and then this piece against there, and that should be lined up. And then we want to move these up so that when we close it, oops, it should sit nicely. Hang on, I don't remember. It does fit perfectly. I don't know what's, did I cut it funny or something? I feel like, or I've put this on funny. This is very strange. Okay, let me try this side. I feel like I put the tear and tape on at an angle or something on this side. So the first time I did it, I did leave the 2 flaps, and maybe it does make it a bit easier because you're just putting the flap to the flap instead of trying to line everything up. Which maybe makes it a little bit easier. Okay. So then, and then you can just kind of, the tab just kind of closes that little bottom opening. Just push that in out of the way. This pattern is very, very hard to see the folds. So if you are using this paper, you might want to leave the 2 tabs on. I'll show you, my original had the tab left. So then I just push this out like this, and it just kind of holds on. You could put little glue on the ends of those tabs if you wanted it to really stick, but it just closes that gap. Oops, I kind of bent trying to fiddle with that. And then you can pop up your scarf with a dimensional here. And tie it to the handle. You could add all sorts of whatever. You could add the sunglasses hanging off. But it's the perfect size for, so here I just put, I didn't have, you could put Ghirardelli chocolates, those square ones. They fit really well. I haven't been able to find them. Costco used to carry them all the time, and they, not in Canada anyways, they don't anymore. Some tea bags if you wanted. So I just thought, or even like a hot chocolate and a cookie, something like just a little treat. It makes for a, doesn't it look like burlap? Like it's hard, it's hard to see the score lines. But yeah, so, you know, if you're having some guests over, a beach party or whatever, this is a fun treat to give, or even just tea with some friends. That's a fun one to have. Okay, so my next one is the pop-up tote bag. Sorry, I need to drink some water. It's the tote inside of a card and pop-up. So I've done this pop-up gift card in a card in my monthly card club before, but we've done it with just kind of a purse, like it's just a, not a purse, but it's just a pop-up in the center of the card. So here we've just kind of, we will adjust this tote to work as a pop-up, which is really fun. So I've got, obviously you want to decorate the outside and the inside, but I'm not putting a tote on both. I'm just gonna put my tote on the inside. So for the outside, I've got just a piece of, this is the new strawberry slush, just a piece of basic white. This is a piece of designer series paper with the new strawberry slush. It's from the Florals in Bloom designer series paper, which I used, I think, when I did the weaving techniques. Oh, yeah, spa samples. That would be, that's a good idea, actually. Or like a little, if you're just giving someone a birthday card and you want to just treat them to a little something, putting some little spa, like you could even put, you could put a like a small nail polish, or any nail polish really, and you could do, yeah, you could make it lots of fun. But then now, instead of having to make it from scratch, all you have to do is cut out the little tote and you're set. So it makes it easy peasy. So then I've cut out the Stylish Shapes circle, and I used the 2.5 inch punch to do my other circle. And we'll just stick that down, try and center it somewhat. And then I've cut another Stylish Shapes die, because I realized that it fits this relax and enjoy pretty much perfectly. It's easier if you stamp it and then cut it out. I was just trying to save time for the video sake, for your guys' sake, to not go on and on forever. So it might be a little harder to get it, but with the clear stamp, it's not too bad. So we've got that. And then we've got some fun pieces. So there's these lotions. So what I did, you've got this fun little flower as one of the stamps, and I just stamped the strawberry slush on strawberry slush. I think my lotion's gonna go that way. And then if you want to make it look even more interesting, you can cut a different color. So here I've cut Secret Sea and cut the two ends. And then you can glue them onto here. Just depends how fancy you want to get. You can be as simple or as fancy as you want. That usually for me depends on how much time I have to get something ready, or patience, or whatever. So you can have the lotion, and then I've cut out the water bottles. The water bottles come with a little, I think it's like a water bottle hole. I didn't know if it was like a holder or if it was meant to be like a straw, but I didn't use it because I thought, A, it's too finicky to try and glue. And I just, yeah, so I stuck with just the bottle. And again, I cut out, you could just cut out the tip if you wanted to save cardstock. And I'm going to glue that down, but first I'm going to stamp some flowers. There's another flower in this set that kind of matches, so I thought instead of doing the same flower, flowers on my bottle. And then we can put our cap. So you know, like the swell bottles, they have, you could use silver foil if you wanted to make it look like a swell water bottle. I know swells aren't like the cool thing anymore. Now it's the Stanleys and the Yetis. I don't know, it keeps changing, but you can make it look like whatever you want. Let's see, you can have, you know, and you could put, there's, you could put a sea star, you could put lotion, you could put anything really. I ended up cutting out one of the shells. I cut it out of Designer Series paper. I actually cut it out of the Sips and Cheers, those little squares that have the nice, they're perfect actually for cutting out colorful things, because they're all, but you could make a splotch like this yourself with a glass block. I know I have a video on that. We'll have to do another video. Anyways, okay, so that's the outside decoration of this card. Now for the inside for your tote. So we've got our two pieces again. You can trim one of the edges again, or you can glue it together. You know what, I'm gonna leave it this time and I'll glue them together so you can see what that looks like. Now we are gonna trim these pieces because we have to trim. So there will be a space at the bottom of your bag. I'm wondering, I'm gonna leave it and I'm gonna see if it works. If I don't, and then I'll show you the one that I did, that I cut it off. Now, where did my trimmer go? How do you lose a trimmer? Oh, here it is. Like, it's pretty big. It's a big piece to lose. Okay, so I prefer to trim both my pieces at once, so then they're the exact same and no questions asked. Originally, I did my first one at, so that the score line was at 1/4 of an inch, but I feel like I had a bit of wiggle room and it was a bit small, so I'm gonna make it a bit bigger here, and I'm gonna try and make my line parallel to the other line and hope that it's not too much, but we will find out. So I'm going to cut both of these like so. So then your bottom score piece is much smaller, but you will see why in a minute. Okay, so let me set this aside again. Now again, you want to decorate your tote before you put it all together. So for this one, I've got the woven part for on here. So we want again to put our strips, oops, along the edge. On there. And one here. I feel like the afternoon blahs are hitting me and it's only noon. Oh my goodness, I cannot catch some energy. Of course, I did have blood work taken this morning, so that doesn't really help. Matters. Oh, and then while I'm doing this, I should continue my saga from last week where I think I had said that my youngest had bopped his face with his knee and pushed his tooth in. So we went back to the dentist to see how things were going yesterday, and the root has died. I did the ice test and he didn't feel ice. I was like, no. So he's in for a root canal. I'm very sad. How does a 16-year-old get a root canal? I guess it happens. Hopefully the tooth will still be okay to survive and not need an implant or anything. And then, yeah, so that'll be my excitement. Right before he goes for nationals, he gets to have a root canal, so hopefully it all goes well. Okay, so I've got that, and then I used the different handles because there's 2 different handles available. Some people actually, so for the other handle that is like this one, I've seen people use them as headphones. So you could like loop it around like like their headphones as well and use this as the handle. So there's lots of possibilities with this set. So many pieces and parts that you could use for anything, not just a tote bag. And then the tote bags are fun as treat bags. The root, no, the root, well, my understanding is the root is dead, so they have to wash all that out. He also has a fracture in his jaw, so I don't know. I think we're just there, and because it's his front tooth, they don't need to cap it, which is nice. They're going in from the back. So I'm just trying to remember what my next step is. I should have written down my steps better. Okay, I'm leaving this tab on just to see if it works. I think I want it glued together before I put it on. Okay, so I'm gonna put the turn tape on just one of the sides, not both, since I'm leaving both tabs on. Oh, yeah, I don't know about, maybe. It's always so confusing when they're talking root canals and stuff. Like, I was so worried about them. It's like, is he gonna need a peg? And just no, the tooth, as long as he doesn't, I mean, if he whacks it again, the tooth will probably die. So that's where, I don't know. What do I know? Hopefully the root canal will solve problems for now and he can, compete. See, this is where, oh, I didn't glue this well. See, I'm just gonna trim this. Apparently I shifted my thing over, so this is where glue becomes your friend because it's easier to move things. But, so now I should be able to just stick them together now that I have one. Right? Yeah. Okay. So you should be able to remove this one. Actually, before I do that, so you see how if I leave it, it'll just be sticking out, which isn't the end of the world because you could put a gift card on either side. If you don't like that sticking out, you can stick it down to one of the sides. So you can put another piece or even just glue. And stick it down. If the outside of the root had not reattached, then the tooth would feel loose. Well, we don't know what the tooth feels like at this point because it is still splinted to the other tooth. They were gonna take it off yesterday, but then when they decided they needed a root canal, they decided they were going to wait and do it all at the same time because he would have to be frozen and it's not the most comfortable thing. So they figured they would do it all at once because he's getting it done next week already. So we just have to watch and make sure it doesn't get infected. For now, and hope for the best. Okay. So yeah, maybe they don't. They did do more x-rays though, so it must be good. But I know, like they said, they couldn't really do much because of the fracture too. It's kind of just one step at a time. All right, so we've got our, no, I hope that hang on. Did I do that right? I think I did that right. Okay, so I've glued this out so it's not sticking out anymore. And then what you want to do is you want to stick this down. But yeah, this is going to get in the way. So we do need to trim these little tabs off. I thought maybe I could get it so that it would, I think it'll just create bulk and then your card won't close well. So we'll just take those off. Now you can add a pocket as well. It does get a bit tight with this kind of handle. And if you put it a different color, it might be better. And then you can add a scarf again. I'm just gonna leave those off for now. So for this, you're basically gonna put your turn tape on again. On both sides. So if you've made one of these before, you might remember it's the same kind of idea. All right, take care, Yolande. All right, so I took one side off and I'm gonna glue it to this side here. Kind of centered, whoops. I don't want it touching because I want it to be able to close. And then you're just gonna, so these flaps are sticking out. You're not folding them in like you normally would on the 3D project. And then you just have to close this side. And then when you open it, you have a little gift card holder or a little tote. You have a little tote in the middle. Isn't that cute? So you can decorate this as much or as little as you want. So here's the finished, and I added some of these strawberry slush and pretty and pink gems. I can't remember which suite these are from, but they're in the new, I believe they're in the annual catalog. Toy face, I don't know how to remember the difference. Anyways, here's our tote. I decorated this side, and it's funny that I didn't remember to change it. I was thinking if you did a card opening from this way and the tote was here, then you'd be able to see, my tear and tape isn't sticking very well, but I had these edges much narrower. I feel like it's pulling off. But you can either decorate both sides if you keep it this way, or if you open it this way, I feel like you would see the decorations. But I don't know if, like, you don't want to spend too much time decorating it because you don't really see the sides. It's more just the fun of, oh, there's a tote in my bag. But you can see there's the spaces. So you want to make sure that your glue is dry on your stuff before you go and put it all together. Obviously with the video I did not, but it makes for a cute tote. All right, those are my 3 cards for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll go and make some pop-up gift cards. You can make it with just cutting out paper as well. If you do my monthly club, you know how to make those. We've done them before. You can always pull out your stuff for that. But yeah, hopefully this inspires you to go do some crafting and have fun. If you enjoyed this bundle, it is available. It's in, you can head over to my store if you are in Canada, and if I'm your demonstrator, or if you are looking for a demonstrator. If you already have a demonstrator, you can shop with them. It's the Notes and Totes bundle, and I will put the link in the description after this, and you can find it easily. So hopefully, oh yeah, hopefully you guys all had a great weekend and Mother's Day if you were celebrating Mother's Day. And I'm just trying to think. I will still be here next Wednesday, so I should be able to be live. And then the Wednesday after that, I will be away. So 1 more week. I hope. Oh, I'm hoping that next week will be my favorite things, because my order from the new annual catalog is supposed to come tomorrow. So hopefully I can show you some of the new fun stuff that is in the new annual catalog. All right, that'll be perfect. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see you next Wednesday. All right, take care. Bye.